As you all know, starting your novel right is extremely important. But how do you know if you've written a good opening? To help, I've compiled 9 horrible ways to start your novel, because knowing what to avoid is just as important as knowing what to do. So be sure to stick around. Let's get started. Hey guys, Nour here and welcome back to my channel. For those visiting for the first time, hello! I'm the fantasy author of the novel Divinity Falling. Be sure to subscribe for weekly writing advice videos. So I'm just going to hop right into the topic. These are the 9 horrible ways to start your novel. Not introducing your main character off the bat. The opening scene should have your main character front and center. If you take forever to introduce them, then your scene is dragging on and you've already lost your reader. A similar mistake is introducing too many characters off the bat. You don't want to overwhelm your readers with a cast of 10 people right from the first page. Even if there are a lot of people in the scene, only concentrate on a few key ones, especially the protagonist. Starting the plot too early. Obviously, you could start the plot at any point in your main character's life, but if you start way before the exciting things begin, you jeopardize keeping your readers invested. For example, instead of writing about your character boarding a bus on their way to an interview, skip to when they're already at the interview. The interview, of course, is the place where something will happen that will alter their life and get the story moving. It doesn't have to be the inciting incident, but it should push the character toward the inciting incident. Starting earlier in the plot would mean wasting your reader's time because nothing story moving is happening. Forgetting to add conflict. Just because your story as a whole has conflict doesn't mean your job is done. If you don't show some sort of conflict in the opening pages, you're only hurting your story. Remember, something life-altering and story-moving needs to happen, even if it's small. It can be as small as your character coming face-to-face with their now pregnant ex at the interview. Conflict doesn't necessarily mean a fight or someone dying. In fact, you could simply show internal conflict, something the main character is going through. Just make sure the conflict affects the story and keeps it moving forward. Basically, you can't write a random conflict that never comes up again. It has to matter to the rest of the story. Info dumping because you don't think the reader will get things. Never info dump, but especially not in your opening pages. Give readers room to understand what's going on at their own pace. Readers aren't stupid. They can put 2 and 2 together. You don't need to outright mention that someone is bad and write an essay explaining exactly why they're bad. If you show a character doing something awful, readers will understand that they're bad without you having to info dump. So it all comes back to show don't tell. Starting with backstory. Doing this in the opening pages is a lot like info dumping. You're basically telling readers they're too stupid to understand what's happening, but again, readers can put 2 and 2 together. If a character is traumatized, readers will understand that something big happened in their past. They don't need to know right then and there what caused that trauma. They can wait a few chapters to find out. In fact, giving readers hints as the story goes on is part of the fun. It keeps them excited and curious. So never start your novel with a backstory. Describing your protagonist. I'm talking a strict description of what your character looks like. As the story goes on, you could give readers some idea of what your character looks like, but they don't need to visualize the character immediately. It's better to show how they behave and what their personality is like. That's more likely to draw readers in than you telling them the character has green eyes and long brown hair. You can slip some of these details in later, but don't do it in an info dumpy way. Starting the plot with your character waking up and starting their day. Again, this is starting the plot too early. Skip forward to when more exciting things are happening than just your main character brushing their teeth. Readers don't care about mundane daily tasks. So get to the point. Opening the first chapter with dialogue. If dialogue is your opening line, then you've already lost your reader. They have no idea what's happening in your story yet. They don't even know who your main character is. Dialogue as your opening sentence is not going to make readers invested. It's only going to confuse them. I'm sure someone out there has pulled it off, but I suggest avoiding it like the plague. It often only hurts the story, dumping all the world building details. Your readers aren't invested in your story yet, and describing the world and all its rules in the opening scene isn't going to do that. Instead, you must ease them in and make sure they care about your main character first. If they care about your character, they'll want to keep reading. And that's when you can show them more details about the world you've created. So just remember, readers aren't here for the world. They're here for the character and their journey. The world is just a bonus. So that's all I have for you today. I'd love to know, have you ever made any of these mistakes and how did you fix them? Let me know in the comments. If you're new to my channel, be sure to subscribe. I put out weekly writing advice videos that will take your story to the next level. Also, don't forget to follow me on social media to see what I'm up to from day to day and to chat with me. And before we go, I just want to give a quick shout out to Sarah Brain and Alan J. Early from my shout out tier over on Patreon, as well as all my basic patrons. Thank you all so much for your support. I really appreciate you. And remember, Nour for president!